Good morning. Welcome to morning meeting. So here's what's on my mind this morning. I remember a time when I was working with some people in a welfare to work program, and I was teaching job skills training topics to them. One of the things that would come up often were things that people said that they wanted to do when they were younger, meaning the type of work they thought they'd be doing, but then didn't do. And I would generally say, well, why aren't you doing it? Like, why aren't you doing it now? What's stopping you now from doing the thing that you wanted to do back then? Now, for some people, if it was, oh, I wanted to be a firefighter, well, maybe the time has passed and they couldn't be a firefighter because maybe there's an age limit and they couldn't get into that program or whatever. But they could certainly do something within that realm, within that field, right? But that's an interesting question to ask oneself: is what's the thing that you wanted to do when you were younger but that you didn't end up doing, and why didn't you end up doing it? And is it something you still have an interest in? Is it still like tugging at you and telling you you should do this, you should really do this? I don't know. For me, I started writing at a pretty young age and telling stories and writing plays and poetry and all of that stuff. I did that a lot from the time I was very young. And I just kind of always thought I'd be a writer. I didn't think about, well, would I be a famous writer? That wasn't it. It was, I just kind of always thought I'd be a writer. And maybe I'd be published, maybe I wouldn't. I really hadn't given that much thought, to be honest. And then several years ago, I came back to that and I was like, you know what? I haven't been writing for a long time. And I want to write. And so I decided I would write a book. And I did this around the time that we opened our tea store. We used to own a tea store. And people would come in and they'd say, well, what made you decide to open a tea store? And I'd say, oh, I like tea. I mean, that really was the answer. I like tea. I have an interest in it. So I thought, well, why not? And then I'd follow up with, and I want to work on a book. And I figured this would be a good place to do it, is in my own tea store. So that's what I was doing. And I was writing a book. And I did. I actually finished an entire novel, but I didn't like it. I thought it was kind of crap, to be honest. But it had some good elements to it. And so years later, many years later, I came back around to that story. And I was like, what can I pull from here? And it was years later. It was actually after I had published a couple other things that I came back to that story and started using elements of that story in a new novel. But I came back to it. And so I am writing, and I do like to write, and I do enjoy it. There was a period of time where I stopped enjoying it. It became too much about money and too much about the sales and all that, and it started to strip the enjoyment away for me. And so now I'm back to, no, I'm just writing because I enjoy writing. I like to tell a story. I love to write mysteries because I like to tell that story. I like the classic whodunit, you know. I just watched an Agatha Christie one, two nights ago. I watched an Agatha Christie show, and it was really good. I can't remember the name of it now, but it was really good. But anyway, what is it that you thought you'd be doing or you wanted to do when you were younger, and is it something you still have an interest in and that you could realistically pursue now? And if it is, why aren't you? See ya.